So this is going to be a basic overview of the structure of the skeleton. We all have one, and when we understand how it's constructed and how it's put together, we can use it more efficiently and intelligently. So as you can see, the big bones, and you also know that the big muscles are in the middle of the body. And as you go to the periphery, they become smaller, less powerful, but more refined so that we can use them for the detailed and intricate work. That's why we do little things with the fingers, and we can actually also do very intricate things with the toes. People who do not have arms can use their toes just like hands. So that's first of all. Now, the second thing is that we have two most important places in the body, which are the skull, protecting the brain, which is the most important for functioning. And then the second most important is the reproductive organs, which are protected by this big pelvis. They are inherently and completely clearly linked by a chain of many vertebrae, which are the spine. And the spine protects all the information channels that come from the brain to the body. So you can see that there's a bone, which is the vertebra, and within it, all the information runs. What you usually feel when you go to feel your back is actually just the spine. It's the edge. The big part, the most important part of your spine is the vertebra, which is, look, in the middle of the body, and it's really big also, much bigger than you think. Look how much space it occupies from the back where you feel it, and even here you still have muscles, so from about here all the way to here. Here also, though, you can see that the big and strong vertebrae are the lumbar vertebrae in the middle. And as you go to the periphery, you have a finer and also not only smaller vertebrae in the neck, but they're also oriented a little differently. And they are the fine-tuning of your orientation, to look and to listen and to support this very important skull. However, if you can see, when you look at this whole thing, it is one chain. And so we need to think about how we use and distribute the work throughout this whole system in order for it to be so that the structure and the function and the goals that we have all match together. So there's actually a lot of simplicity built into this structure. It seems like there's a lot going on because we can do a lot of things, and that is because there are a lot of systems interacting. There's nerves and muscles and ligaments and thoughts and feelings, and it all seems complicated, but the structure is actually simple, because not only is that initial from the core to the periphery, but also there's, after that, only these four limbs that mirror each other. Again, they match. The big bones are the first ones that lead from the trunk, these two, from the arms and the legs, and then from the elbows and the knees, same thing, two bones which are smaller, and here again, two bones which are smaller. And they lead to the hands and the feet. The hands and the feet also mirror each other exactly. So we were talking about the knee to the ankle and the elbow to the wrist. The foot has 26 bones, more than in the whole body we have in the hands and feet, and the hands have 27. And they're built in the same way in that the fingers start over here. And the toes, as you know, they start over there. So there's the exact parallel. So from the ankle to the toes and from the wrist to the fingers, there's these kind of connecting bones here and these bones here. And they're exactly the same structure. And then with the fingers also. So the thumb has 2 joints, and the toe has 2 joints, and all the other fingers have 3 joints. 1, 2, 3, like this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. They're all the same, and the same thing is with the toes. Let's see if he holds. 2 in the toe, and then these in the big toe, and then the others have 3 each. The same thing happens with the joints, this echoing and mirroring and simplicity. So we have 4 big joints that are ball-bearing. They're the only ones where you can go all the way around, are in the shoulders and in the hips. Yeah. This is a round, and you can see that it looks like a golf ball. It's round, and it sits in a round socket. In the arm, we don't have a round socket, but we have 3 bones that interact to create a kind of a padding that together makes a round place for the shoulder to go around. And these are the only ones that you can take all around. You can't do it with the knees or anywhere else. The elbows and the knees, however, are exactly the same, and they are a hinge. You can only take them in and out. They can't go side to side or around. Same thing. And then the reason that we have so many bones in the hands and in the feet are because we need to manipulate so much. So having these bones interact between them allows us stability, but also versatility in many, many directions. So there's many little bones in the middle here, in the wrist, and also lots of bones, I'll show you, in the feet. Now, it goes even further, because the same thing happens here with the fingers. These joints, just between the hand and where the fingers start, they're also a little bit rounded, and you can rotate a little bit within them, the first joints. You can go from side to side. You see, I can do this, and I can take it around. And it's the same in the feet. And the other joints also go only in and out, these. And it's exactly the same in the feet. So there's a beauty in the simplicity and coherence of this general structure. So now the spine. As you can see, the spine is curved. There's a curve going in at the neck and another one in the lumbar area. And the reason that we have a curve is because it gives stability, it gives elasticity, and it gives versatility. Something that's straight, like this post, is very easy to break and not very well designed for walking and running, and not to mention bending. But this curve is very important, and it also, the whole idea of the elasticity again introduces the thought of this distribution of work. So we talked about the main trunk to the periphery, and the same thing applies here in the spine. If you look at this whole area from the tailbone all the way up to the neck, it's really one chain. And we tend to focus a lot on the neck. People do a lot of things with the neck and stop there if you're asked to turn or to look up and down. Most people move only from the neck, and that's partly language. That's the culprit. But if you think about it, how come we don't use everything in a more integrated way? And we're going to address this later in the course and see how to use it more efficiently. The ribs are very flexible. They're round. They can move in and out. And they also, when you bend side to side, they can get close together, like they are on this side, and then the other side goes farther apart between them, like that. They're connected to the sternum, which is the chest bone, by cartilage. So they can move in relation to that, much more than we think. And in the back, we have 2 ribs that are not even connected to anything in front. So here, there's a lot of motion, which most people don't use at all. But in fact, you can breathe into it, and you can use it in many ways that we're not habitually doing, but we can learn how to do it. And we'll do some more of that in the course. Finally, we're going to talk about the jaw and the shoulder blades. And they're really interesting because they're connected very loosely by ligaments, but mostly by muscles that cover them and hold them in place. That's why when you find skeletons in archaeology, they usually miss this part. It just flies off. The shoulder blades also, they are held mostly by muscles. And you know they're very strong muscles because, as I said before, they go through the center of the body and they keep the shoulder blades in place. However, that reminds us that because they are so free in here, they can move a lot more than we think and that we are aware of. And just knowing that and using it creates many possibilities that most of us don't use, and also helps in releasing tension in the breathing and in the chest, which is very important. So that, again, is an example of why I said at the beginning that knowing how it's put together makes us able to use our cells, our skeletons, which each one of us has inside, in the most efficient, effective, and intelligent way that's best for us.
To recap, knowing how we are put together enables us to use ourselves in the best possible way.